Welcome everyone. In today's video, we're continuing the meditation series with our instructional guide on how to meditate. So if you've been interested in meditation, but you're not sure how to go about it, and you don't want to do anything wrong, well, this video should answer every question you've got about meditation. And specifically in this one, we're going to be speaking about mindfulness meditation with a breath focus, and we're going to be stationary. As you know from our What is Meditation video, there are many different kinds of meditation, many different techniques, many different spiritual and religious traditions and backdrops, metaphorical backdrops with which to do meditation. And it can seem overwhelming when you look at all of that information and go, well, I know it's good for me, but where the heck do I start? And that's where this video is. This video is going to give you the practical, this is where you start. I recommend starting with breathing meditation, where the breath is your focus. It's going to be the most common meditation people talk about. If someone says I meditate, that's probably what they mean. They do a breath focus, mindful, stationary meditation. They're sitting or laying down and they're doing their thing. But let's go ahead and get into this video so that you guys can get started meditating, and myself included. In doing the research for these videos, I have reinvigorated my passion for meditation and have committed to getting back on the wagon and doing it again. And I think it would be useful for where I am in my life and helping me to become more focused, and all the benefits that we saw in the benefits of meditation video. And if you haven't seen those videos, I'm going to link both of them in the description. Benefits of meditation that are scientifically proven, as well as the What is Meditation video. So let's get started. First, we have to start with the place. Where is it that we're going to meditate? Ideally, you want some place that's quiet, a place that's calm. Oh, excuse me. Ideally, you want a place that's quiet. You want a place that's calm. You want a place where you can be alone and you're not going to be disturbed. So if you have kids, if you have pets, you may want to choose a room of the house where you can close the door, you can have a sign or something. If people frequently bug you during the day, to say, hey, I'm doing this thing. When I go to do this thing, you guys got to go outside and play or go do something else. You know what I mean? Go do the dishes or something. Or you're going to be alone where you won't be disturbed. You can meditate in nature, and meditating in nature is great because the nature energy can help to balance you out. However, nature can also be distracting if you're first getting started meditating. And part of doing any habit and any practice in your life is you want to remove as much of the resistance as you can. And the way we do that is by making it easier to do the habit. For example, instead of going to the gym to work out, you can work out in your house. Well, you've just removed all the resistance that I got to get in the car and I got to drive to the gym. Well, in the same way that if meditating in nature is going to be what you do, there may be more resistance to that if, say, you have to go somewhere to do it. Habits are easier to do when you can just drop into them at home and you don't have to go anywhere special. So I recommend meditating in your home. Find a room in your house where it's quiet, where you won't be bothered. And it's not a requisite, the darkness that I put here, but sometimes it can help if it's dark. If it's too bright and you close your eyes, you can still see the light, past your eyelids. It can sometimes be counterproductive to trying to kind of trance yourself out when you're doing a meditation. So it's not a requisite, but I find it's useful for me. I turn the lights off in the room that I do it in when I do it. And then another thing I wrote here is earplugs. It can be useful. Earplugs creates a different kind of meditation because now you're blocking out your outer sounds and now you're only hearing the inner sounds. And there are forms of meditation where you focus on the sounds in your body, not breathing, but all of the different sounds in your body. And if you get tuned and quiet enough, you can hear your organs processing and you can hear your nervous system buzzing and all that stuff. The reason it's not why I wrote earplugs here. This is, for example, say you're just, you live in a house with a lot of people. So you've got kids and the dog and the husband or the wife, and there's just always so much going on. And you say to me, Lance, I don't have a quiet place in my home. My home is chaos. There's stuff everywhere. Well, find a room you can go to somewhere and bring the earplugs with you. Put them bad boys in, and that's going to at least help remove the sound as much as possible. Maybe all of it, maybe some of it. Another useful tip with the earplugs in place is you can meditate in your car. Well, not while you're driving, but you can meditate in your car. Say you're on your lunch break or whatever, and you've eaten your lunch and you still got 30 minutes left of your break. Well, you can sit in your car, put some earplugs in, windows up, earplugs in, car off, and just sit and meditate right there. You know, you can meditate anywhere, and that's the beauty of meditation. Say you're out somewhere and you've got some spare time. Well, instead of thumbing through the phone for 20 minutes, maybe sit and meditate for 15 minutes. But in any case, pick a place, and we're talking about our primary meditating place. So pick a place in the home where it's going to be easy for you to do it. You can just walk in, sit down, plop down, quiet, calm, alone, and it's going to be easy for you to do it every day. Now, once we've found the place that we're going to meditate, now we got to talk about our position. Now, there are imageries, you know, in our society and our understanding of meditating where you've got to sit in the perfect full lotus position with your knees down and your feet up, and if you don't do it like that, you're not a real meditator. No, none of that. That's all bullshit. Like you can do meditation in any posture and position that you want. The key is it needs to be comfortable for you and your body, such that when you're sitting, you could sit for a long period if you wanted, and the pain of being in that position or the discomfort of being in the position isn't going to be antithetical to what you're doing. You want to position a chair, a mat, lay down, whatever it is, to where you're comfortable enough that you can sit, and the aspect, the part of you sitting isn't going to be distracting you from the meditation. I don't recommend laying down in a bed, and the reason why is you'll typically fall asleep, especially if you start to push for longer meditations. And when you fall asleep, that is not meditating. That's sleeping. Now, there are forms of being in a trance that can seem like sleep, but even still, that trance moment isn't what we're shooting for with meditation. That works with hypnosis. With meditation, we actually want to be fully and more consciously aware. We almost want to be more awake, more aware when we're meditating, because remember, we're training our mind. We're training that focusing. We're training being in awareness and not being attached to thoughts. We're not laying down just to space out in a way. So I don't recommend laying down in a bed because it's too comfortable. But what you can do is you can roll a yoga mat on the floor and lay down. And I find that that's firm enough that you're not going to just instantly, start snoozing. But it also is comfortable for some people depending on their different body issues. I got some body stuff going on where sometimes sitting in a chair for too long will hurt my neck. So I like to lay flat on the floor when I do it. But you can choose. You can sit in a chair. You can sit on the ground, like cross-legged or half lotus, or if you're able to do the full lotus and you like doing that because you're into yoga and you're super flexible, go for it. Remember, not medical advice. Seek advice of a doctor before you do any of this. But you could do lotus, you could lay down. There was a book written actually by a very professional, experienced, master meditator who ended up blowing out both of his knees, thinking he had to be in full lotus every time he sat to meditate. So that's why I kind of don't advise doing that, because it's just not natural for your body to be in that position in the first place. So personally, I think sitting in a chair is fine. If you can, you want a hard, firm back chair so that you stay upright and that you're nice and tall when you're sitting. I mean, we don't have to be balancing the book on the head, being super, rigid about it, but just where it's something where you're not too sleepy comfortable. You don't want to lay back in a recliner because, again, you're going to probably go to sleep when you do it. So somewhere comfortable where you can sit for a long period of time. There's no real special posture needed. There's no magic combination. Next, we have to think about how long we're going to meditate. If you're just starting out, 5 minutes is going to seem like a short time until you go to do it. And then it's going to be like, wow, 5 minutes is a long time. So I would say start with 5 minutes. And if 5 minutes is too challenging, keep dialing it back. I quite literally, there have been times in my life where I started with 1 minute a day for a couple days just to get the habit of sitting down and doing it. And then what I started doing is I'd add a minute until I felt an area of resistance. So I'd hit 5 or 6 minutes, and then that felt long. So I'd stay at that 5 minutes for a couple more days and then ratchet back up. I think 15 minutes is what I would shoot for as far as you practice and get more comfortable. 15 minutes is fine. You don't really need to do more than that. Once you're comfortable at 15 minutes, then scoot it towards 20 to 30. But I think anything more than 30, I don't think is necessary, quite honestly. I think 30 minutes would be the upper end of what I would do. Not that you can't, if you feel called to it and you're like, Lance, I have the intuitive knowing that I think I get a benefit out of doing an hour meditation every once in a while. Maybe I'll do 15, 20 minutes normally, but maybe on a Sunday or something, when I've got some spare time, I just feel like I'm going to sit there for an hour. Man, go for it. Go for it. If that's what you're feeling called to, give it a try. It's an experiment, Worst case scenario, you end up sitting there for 30 minutes and finally you're like, man, I just can't sit here anymore. And you get up. No big deal. So this is these are the combination of the ingredients we need. We need a place, figure out a position, get a time limit. And again, all of this you can experiment with. There is no wrong way of doing this, you know? There's only learning and growing. It's a practice. It's a meditation practice, not a meditation perfect. So figure all that stuff out first, and now we'll get into the juice of meditation. Once we have our ingredients, we begin. Sit down in your chair, or lay down on your floor. Close your eyes. Breathe naturally. Move your arms naturally. Breathe naturally. Eyes closed. And our focus is going to be on the breath. Either at the tip of the nose, you can track your breath. As it goes in and out. What you want to do is imagine you're focusing your entire awareness as a single point at the tip of the nose. It can help to almost imagine like you're shining your flashlight of awareness to the tip of the nose, and you're just observing the breath in relation to that tip of that nose, just in and out, and that becomes your object of focus. Now, the other main school of meditation when it comes to breath, because there's two main breath-focused meditation types. That's the tip of the nose people, and it's the diaphragm, where you literally are feeling, when you breathe, feel that belly expand and rise up, and feel the belly go down. Belly will rise up and go down as you breathe in and you breathe out. And the other school of meditation focuses on the diaphragm instead. Me, I was trained on the nose, using the nose as the focus, so that's what I do. But you can use the diaphragm. And the diaphragm is nice because if you're having a hard time focusing on it, just put your hand over it, your belly, when you're sitting there. And then you can, as your hand is sitting there, your hand will move up and down. It'll help you to feel that movement in your diaphragm. So we have to get our awareness and our focus on the breath. And steps 5 and 6 is the meditation. We become aware as we're focusing on the breath at the nose, for example, or the diaphragm. We keep our focus there. What's going to happen is your mind will think a thought. And our goal is to stay focused on the breath and the nose. Well, as the mind starts to think the thoughts, you're going to notice that your awareness begins to move to the thought, becomes attached to the thought, and then you become the thought, you become immersed in the thought, and now you're immersed as the thinker of thoughts again. And that's okay. This is the whole practice. All of meditation is law of polarity, the pole between completely focused and immersed in the breath, getting caught in thought. Completely immersed and focused on the breath, getting caught in thought. Those are the two polar opposites of what's going to happen when you're meditating. Don't beat yourself up. A lot of people get critical, they judge, they try to force, I'm just not going to think anything and I'm going to make my mind clear. Like, no. all that energy that you're bringing to that is a thought that you're also getting caught in. So you got to let all that crap go. Just let it all go. We don't judge. When we realize, and here's the tricky part, your whole intention, focus on the breathing, focus on the nose, focus on the breath. It's not like you'll get pulled to one thought and you're like, oh, got it, and you bring yourself back. Sometimes, man, you'll go down the rabbit hole. You'll be thinking about the groceries. Well, we need milk and we need eggs and we need cheese and, I got to get the kids to soccer on Friday and, he's got a baseball game on Thursday, so I'm going to have to get the groceries probably on Wednesday night. You'll be 30 thoughts down the road by the time you remember, oh, wait a minute, I have my eyes closed and I'm sitting here and I'm supposed to be meditating. Well, when you have that, bing, oh yeah, I'm caught in all these thoughts, gently, just bring that focus right back to the nose. We have no judgment, no any emotion really. We just bring the awareness back. If you have to have an emotional response to getting caught in a thought, then have the emotional response of kindness, of joy. The joy of, I just saw it happen. I caught myself with that thought and I'm going to bring it back because it's going to happen over and over and over again. We become aware when we are identified with a thought. We're knee deep in getting the groceries. You know, we're knee deep in thinking about all of the landscaping work we're going to do on the house on Saturday. I'm going to mow the lawn, and I'm going to weed whack, and I'm going to clean out the fire pit and all that. And that's when we realize, oh, I'm supposed to be meditating. Then we gently notice it. Gently is the key. And we gently bring our focus back to the breath. We don't judge ourselves. We just come back with a kindness. And we bring our awareness back. Because getting upset at the thought is, here we go, getting mad or upset or judgment about being caught in thoughts is just more thoughts. The ego is super duper clever. The ego is super duper sly. Okay, super sly. It knows what you're doing here, and it's trying, to a degree, it's trying to, not want to say trying to sabotage you, but the ego is clever. And, you know, the ego doesn't necessarily want you meditating, because meditation is, in a way, not the death of the ego, but you're taking away its power. So the second you realize you're caught in a thought, the ego's next trick in the book, you know, the devil's next trick is, I'm so mad that I got caught in these thoughts. Well, that's just more thought. Being mad that you got caught in a thought is just more thoughts. The ego is just keeping you, feeding it with your awareness. That's when you say, you know, thank you, grateful. I'm so grateful I became aware, and I pull my breath right back. That is meditation. That right there, that you breathing, caught in the thought, bringing it back. Caught in the thought, bringing it back. Caught in the thought, bringing it back. That is meditation. That's the muscle that we're working. And at first, it's going to feel like, well, you know, let's skip that for a second. Yep, don't judge yourself. And when you're done, right, your timer goes off, ding, ding. Oh, thank God, you know. You open your eyes. And when you open your eyes, be aware. The moment you open those eyes, you turn that timer off. Before you get up and run off and do all the things that you've been waiting to do, your ego's like, yes, I'm back in control. Before that happens, that moment, bing, bing, turn the alarm off, open our eyes. Before we do anything, right? Keep your focus, keep your awareness on the breath. Look around the room. Feel the awareness. Feel the peace. Feel the calm. Feel you can practice in this moment loving kindness and compassion just for yourself, for having sat. I'm so grateful, so thankful. Stay anchored in that moment of peace. Stay anchored in that moment of awareness as long as you can. And again, we're not clinging to it. We're not needing to stay in it. It's just, I choose to remain in this awareness, this expanded awareness, in this quieted state as I move throughout my day. Now, inevitably, you know, it could be the second you walk out the door and the kids run up, or the spouse, or you get the work call, and then all of a sudden you're back into the mind and you're doing all the stuff. But just to keep cultivating that awareness. You can do it throughout the day. It doesn't even have to be a formal thing outside of your sitting period. We're just become aware of the breath. Become aware that you're getting so caught up in the ego. You're getting so caught up in thought, and just bring it all back. See? Just keep bringing it back. Just keep bringing it back. Bringing it back. But yeah, my friends, that's meditation. And it's the easiest, hardest thing that you will ever do. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've done. I mean, outside of maybe being a Navy SEAL or something, or a Marine, you know, being in the military, I think this is probably the hardest thing you could possibly do. Sitting and doing it. And not just doing it once, right? But making it a practice that we continue to do day after day after day. But yeah, start today, my friends. Your homework, the homework for today, the exercise I'm asking you to do, meditate. 1 minute counts. 5 minutes counts. 15 minutes counts. But don't push yourself. Don't go, I know it's good for me, so I'm going to sit down for 30 minutes. You might be able to force and grit your way through that for the first couple of days, but it's so far outside of where you are that eventually that will not stick. It won't stick with who you are. You really do need to gently go about this. Start with 5 minutes, start with a minute, and then continue to build up to the place that feels like the right amount of time for you. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, my friends. We'll see you next time. Keep it locked in the channel, because we're going to be releasing more content about meditation over the coming weeks. We're going to explore different kinds of meditation. We're going to do some guided meditations with you, where I'll guide you through guided meditation, and those are more like visualization, where I'll paint a picture for you and we'll walk around and we'll move through things to move you into a different state of reality. But that's probably what you're going to see next here on the channel. Choose and make it a great day, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.